Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to improve your credit score fast and also over the long term as well. So there's 6 different factors that go into improving a credit score, and we're going to talk about all 6 of those in this video. So I'm not in front of the whiteboard today, as you can obviously see. It's going to be a screen sharing type of video because this would be way too hard to do on the whiteboard. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a website where anyone can get their credit score and their credit report absolutely for free, and it will not ding your credit score. So I actually ran my own personal credit score using this website right here called Credit Karma. So Credit Karma, you can do a lot of different things with it, but primarily you can get your credit score for free, as I mentioned, and I'm actually going to show you exactly my credit score right now. So I'm going to check if you guys can see my screen, and it looks like you can. So I ran my credit score using Credit Karma today, and I'm actually a 794. I'm typically an 800 plus most of the time, but basically now that I dug into more of the nuances as to why I'm a 794 using Credit Karma, I can actually understand why it got dinged a little bit, and that's ultimately because I've been looking to get a forever home. So my wife and I applied for a couple different mortgages, and every time someone pulls your credit, that actually dings your score. So I'm actually going to go into more depth in this right now. So ultimately, you can go into your score details, and this will show you what your score is with TransUnion right here underneath the word excellent. And then also, if you look at the 794, you can see it's pulling from Equifax as well. These are just basically 2 different credit bureaus that pull your credit, that know exactly what you have going on based on your social security number and everything attached to that number. So if we go up to over here to My Overview, you can go to Score Details. And also, you guys, I just want to make it very clear, this video is not sponsored. I probably could have gotten it sponsored and made money, but I'm just using this and showing you this because I've used it in the past. So again, there's no compensation from Credit Karma or anything like that going on here. So again, if you go to Score Details, you'll see here that you can see that it shows you the credit score, it shows you the date, and it shows you the different factors, okay? So these are real factors pertaining to me. So the ones that are high impact, obviously payment history in the top left right here is going to be number 1. So what is payment history? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's whatever obligations you may have that you owe money on, whether it's a personal loan, a credit card, a mortgage, auto loan, whatever. Any obligation where you owe money, that is all tracked, and all the credit bureaus know if you're paying or not. So for example, if I click into this, you can see here that I have 0 late payments ever, okay? I don't believe in having consumer debt, so I never carry any consumer debt. To me, it's just stupid. So this is what we consider a high impact area. So you can see here that Credit Karma kind of breaks it down, showing payment history is high impact, and they also have the color. So if you're a green, yellow, or red, you can kind of see how you're doing. So the first one is payment history. The second one is actually credit card use. So you can see how much credit you're using compared to your total limits, okay? So I'm going to block out these 3 different credit cards right here because there's frankly a bunch of weirdos on the internet, to be honest. And I just don't want people knowing where I bank or where I have my cards with. But you can see here that the balances on all these cards are 0 out of 13,000, 0 out of 10,000, 0 out of 8,200, and basically all of my credit limits are not used at all, and they're actually pretty high. So this is good. Anything from 0 to 9% is considered excellent. So credit utilization is actually what that's called. So say, for example, you have a credit limit of $1,000 and you're using $200 of that $1,000. That puts you at a 20% credit utilization rate. So they basically don't want you going over 20%, otherwise it's going to start to ding you. As you can see right here, it's actually 30%, but basically what I'm reading online is anything 20 and over is considered a higher utilization. So that's number 2. So make sure your credit utilization rate is extremely low. Also, this is another high impact field right here. It's called derogatory remarks. So derogatory remarks are basically anyone saying that, hey, you were delinquent on your mortgage, you haven't paid on this, you're in collections, you have tax liens, bankruptcies, civil judgments, things like that. So it's anything that's kind of like a uh-oh, if you will. So obviously I don't have any of these, knock on wood, I don't plan on having any of these, so that's contributing to my 794 credit score. So ultimately, that's a pretty, these three are no-brainers, okay? So anyone with a credit card or who understands credit scores even at the most, sophomoric or beginner level, they understand that payment history, credit card use, derogatory remarks, these are all high impact fields. Now let's get to one that many people may not know about or even have control about. So what we have here is called credit age, okay? So this is basically saying lenders like to see that you have experience using credit responsibly, and that any line of credit, whether it's a credit card or a mortgage, for example, that's 9 years or older, is basically looked at positively by the lenders. So you can see here, I'm just going to scroll down. Again, I'm blanking out this part of the screen because I don't want people knowing where I bank or what I have. But you can see here, I'm 31 years old. My mom opened up this card for me when I was 5. Okay, she's a genius. She's worked in banking. She's a very smart woman. And she's like, I wanted you to get, a good credit score early. So she basically used this as her credit card. Well, it was my credit card, but she paid it off. And used it for little things here and there like gas or whatever. So I already had an established credit score without even knowing it at the age of 6 years old. So my mom is an OG for that. Thank you, Mom. And you can see these other two are about 10 and 2.5 years old. Okay, so that's important. If a lot of people about coming from that car dealership video that I made, they asked me about, hey, why do you recommend paying cars with cash? I want to be able to, establish credit, this and that. I've had an 800 plus credit score pretty much my whole life. Ultimately, I've never had a car payment. I've only paid off my credit cards on time. I've always paid off my rent on time, student loans, things like that. You don't necessarily need to have, auto loans or a mortgage or things like that to be in that 800 credit score range. So keep that in mind. Age of credit is important, and that's weighed kind of with that medium impact, if you will. Now here's two that are low impact, and luckily they are low impact because you can see that I'm a red and a yellow with this. Basically, this is what we call total accounts. So common sense kind of tells you, hey, the less credit cards you have or the less open accounts you have, the better you are, right? You're more responsible financially. You kind of think that, the person with 20 credit cards is kind of like, they're scrambling, they're in debt, they're all over the place. But lenders actually look at that positively. They want you to have more lines of credit open because it kind of gives you a portfolio of loans. So you have like the car loan, the mortgage payment, you have your open unsecured credit card line, things like that. Ultimately, I don't really believe in that, and I don't care because it's not really hurting me that much. But they want to see you have at least 11 to 20 of these lines of credit open, which to me is kind of insane, to be quite honest. You can see here that I personally have 3, and it's those cards that I just showed you. So ultimately, get this up, you guys. If you can get the number of credit lines up without actually using them, maybe have like a Home Depot card, a Lowe's card, a Macy's card, credit card, whatever, that will actually help your credit score. But again, it's low impact, so that may not be the best way of raising your credit score. And then finally, what we have here is hard inquiries, and I think this is personally what's kind of kicking my butt here, and it took me from an 800 something to a 794. So hard inquiries are basically whenever you get your credit pulled, not including Credit Karma. This does not register as a hard pull. A hard pull is if you go to the car dealership and they're pulling your credit to see if you can get financed. If you're going to apply for a mortgage, they're pulling your credit to see if you can get approved for that mortgage. These are basically big purchases on big items. So you want to stay away from these hard pulls and these hard inquiries. Even getting a job. So your potential employer will pull your credit score. And if you're a disaster credit score, that may affect you getting hired or not, believe it or not. So ultimately, if we go back to this screen, you can see here that anything from 0 to 2 hard inquiries is acceptable. 3 to 4 is kind of pushing it. That's where I'm at. I'm in that yellow range. And then you can see here in the red, 5 to 8 is red, and then 9 plus is like the worst you can do. So you want to be sure to stay within that 0 to 2 hard pull range. They do wipe out after time, and they do fall off your record after time, kind of just like driver's license points if you get pulled for speeding over or whatever. I don't know when that time frame is, and I probably should have researched that before this video. But again, mine were pulled, I want to say, months ago and they're still on it. So we'll have to see how long that takes. So ultimately, just to recap everybody, I hope you got value out of this video, and I know it was a quick one, but a lot of people don't know the 6 factors that go into improving your credit score. So you have payment history, which is obvious, credit card utilization, that's your debt utilization. Again, if you have $1,000 in limit and you're using, $900 all the time on average, that's a 90% utilization rate, and that is bad. So you want to be careful about that credit card use. Derogatory marks such as collections, tax liens, bankruptcies, civil judgments, anything like that. Credit age, total accounts, and hard inquiries. If you fix these 6 things, you can definitely increase your credit score. And here's a bonus for you guys. If you guys are younger, or if you're someone that's trying to repair their credit score fast, you can always be added to someone else's line of credit, whether it's a credit card or some type of loan. So if you're going for a car loan, you don't get approved, but your wife or your dad or your grandma can. If they put you as the co-borrower, that actually reflects positively on you. But if you don't pay that off, you're hurting their credit score as well. So be careful with that, you guys. So I hope you got value out of this video. It's a very important subject because credit scores can determine what kind of APR you get, what kind of interest rate you get. So the worse your credit score is, the more you're going to pay in interest, which is ironic. These are people that are already late on their payments, and now they're actually being made more poor by getting approved for more predatory loans or worse interest rate loans. So the better your credit score, the more money you're going to save in the long term. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you got value out of this video. Please support the channel in any way possible. Use the Amazon links below. Sign up for Audible if you haven't already and get 2 free books on me and on Amazon. You're definitely supporting the channel when you do that. Thank you so much and have a prosperous day.